Hi, I'm Bruce Morton, Head of Strategy for Leaders Global Solutions. I'm excited to be joined today by Simon Bradbury. Simon is our VP of Operations and BD in EMEA. Today, we're going to be recapping a recent executive roundtable discussion that we held based all around the future of work. Welcome, Simon.
Hey there, Bruce.
Good to see you. So this roundtable that we hosted together recently with John Boudreau brought together a number of senior HR leaders, CHROs, and from global operations to discuss this whole concept that we've been talking a lot about, workforce transformation, and the ways to address them with executive committee, and what's the conversation you have in the boardroom. Could you explain a little bit more about how the event came to be and why we were so passionate about putting this group of people together?
Yeah, Bruce, absolutely. And thank you for that intro. Well, I mean, you and I, if we don't talk about this daily, it's a regular topic that we are picking up on, and just in conversations that we're having with prospective clients, but also with existing customers of ours. We're seeing a few trends, and those trends would include probably the topic of workforce and workforce transformation is becoming a higher level of interest with more senior people within companies. We're definitely having more conversations with head of talent, CHROs, different organisations, chief people officers, that kind of thing. And there's undoubtedly an expectation at board level that people in these senior roles have a plan for the future of work, for what will the workforce of the future look like, and how we're going to address workforce transformation. And to answer your question around how did this come about, it was because we really felt, well, where's the opportunity for peers to share the conversation about, well, what's happening in your organization? What questions are being asked? What are we doing about some of the theoretical topics? How is that manifesting itself into a kind of reality conversation about what we're actually practically going to do? So it's really about trying to set up a community that was specifically targeted at those conversations that are workforce related, that are happening around the board table, and trying to have peer-to-peer conversations in a safe environment for people to understand kind of what's happening, what other people are doing, because there is so much change happening there at the moment. Now, you also mentioned, Bruce, that we partnered with John Boudreau on this session when we had the group together. So people watching this, some of you will be familiar with John Boudreau, some of you won't. John Boudreau, I regard as the world's leading academic in matters of workforce. He's written a number of books, including Reinventing Jobs and Work Without Jobs. And we've spent some time working with John because we believe very, very passionately in the concepts that he's driving in terms of organizations starting with kind of understanding the work that needs to get done, tasks, rather than starting with a job spec. And that's really the beginning of the whole conversation. So John was there really to share some of his work and his research and experience with major organizations as a starting point, and to answer questions as well. So that was a little bit about it, because I really enjoyed it. It was one of those conversations that I think we went for an hour and a half. We probably could have gone for a day and a half. Yeah. I don't know what your experience was, but hopefully you enjoyed it too.
Yeah, absolutely. I think what was really interesting is, this term, the future of work, people talk about as if it's something that's coming. And I thought it was really enlightening and really encouraging for everybody on the panel. So, well, actually, it's already here. So that was great news, and kindred spirits and all that. But I think the start of the conversation, we talked quite a bit about the deconstruction of jobs and the harmonization of channels, and that's needed to be able to really transform the workforce. So what's your take on that subject around the deconstruction and the harmonization?
Yeah, it was the starting point. And what I find really interesting about it is that I've yet to meet someone who disagrees with the concept of deconstruction and task, not job. So this is essentially the principle of, instead of having a kind of siloed approach of speaking to a business area and saying, well, do you want to hire a permanent person? Do you want to hire a contractor? Do you want to get a consultant in under a statement of work? And therefore, what's our job spec that we're going to start with, or what's our specification from a consultancy perspective? don't do that at all. Start with what work needs to get done. What are we actually trying to achieve here? So, as I mentioned a moment ago, I've not met someone that disagrees with that principle. If you agree with that principle, everything changes. You then say, well, actually, the structures that we've got internally as an enterprise organization don't quite work. The processes, the sign-offs don't quite work. We've got siloed approaches in terms of how we get work done. That doesn't work, and so on. My take on it is, it's the right place to start. Very, very few people disagree with it being the right place to start, but people don't actually know the practical first steps to take to start going down the path. It's almost too big a topic, and therefore it kind of gets parked on a few occasions. And that was certainly something that we talked about. Bruce, we were, thinking back to the session itself, we started by kind of talking about examples, didn't we? So when have we seen this happen? And various people pitch in with real examples. So, what was your favourite example? Can you think of an example from the conversation that you would say, resonated with you in terms of where people have actually kind of started this process?
Yeah, I think that's a great point. I think we're at a point now where organizations they agree with the concept, but they're like, well, show me. Where are the examples? And obviously, there aren't a million examples out there because this is relatively new thinking. But to my mind, there's a project that we were involved in that sounds slightly biased, but I think it's been incredible how an organization we work with, where we've taken just their technology function, and by the harmonization and sort of starting from scratch in a way, looking at where all of their people that was in a so-called tech job, all in these little silos and pockets of these small teams, which was hindering collaboration and hindering career paths as well for those folks. And we went through this process of literally whiteboarding for over a few days of what is the work we're actually getting done here. Don't think about the job specs. Stop using job titles. An example would be in that working session, somebody would say, oh, we need a project manager. No, we need to manage some projects. We need a solution architect. No, we need to architect some solutions. Sounds like semantics, but the outputs that you get and where you get to at the end of that process is far different to where you started. And in that example, as you know, by bringing those 125 people together that were all in these disparate teams, now it looks like they're probably going to get at least 200%. It could actually be 300% productivity compared to today, just by redesigning, rethinking. And I love the term that a couple of folks on the panel and John used is this is experimentation. You have to think about work now as experimentation, and your clients for that experimentation are your employees and your contractors and the business itself. So it's about being brave, it's about being bold, and I think some of that, and plus other examples we heard, were incredible results. So super excited about what's to come. And I think that all the talk about tech and Chat GPT, the organizations that are going to benefit from that. They're the ones that are going to take this approach. So yeah, super excited about what's to come.
Yeah. And picking up on you were just getting into some of the tech points. I just recall that there was a key area of kind of a logical process that came up in the conversation whereby, so we were talking about the kind of principle of how do we get work done, what work needs to get done, tasks, not jobs. If you accept that, then you have to, by matter of logic, accept that you have to harmonize your channels, by which we mean you can't have permanent, non-permanent statement of work consultancy separate, because otherwise you're forever starting off going down one of those channels. So you have the task not jobs number one, you have harmonization of channels number two, and we have that role workforce business partner from our book that we defined. But then a logical step number three is to make that role a reality. You have to have a piece of technology that actually means that you can do that. It means that you can that role becomes a reality. You can look at different types of work across an organization, etc. And we call that the intelligent workforce platform, which we see as a new genre, a new area of work that's coming in to get work done. So Bruce, do you want to cover any points around intelligent workforce platform that we talked about in that session?
Yeah, I think it's the concept of the starting the journey in the right place. So that means having the insights, really understanding how is work getting done today, help with that deconstruction, think about how can we send work to people instead of people to the work? That means that you need all of that data and analytics behind the scenes. What does it cost to get work done in different parts of the country, in different parts of the world? Where are those specific skill sets? What are, we're seeing now a move towards tribalism in a way where, we might not, countries will be known in the future and regions will be known by their skill sets. It used to be back in the day, if you wanted great design, you went to Scandinavia because of IKEA. They're just great designers. Well, where are those skills of the future? So I think that's automation is only going to help that, but without a consistent platform that sits below or above, depending how you want to look at it, all of the disparate HR systems and finance systems that are in place right now, unless you can get it in one place, it's an incredibly tough hill to climb. So I think we're going to see more of that. Obviously, we've created our intelligent workforce platform at AGS, but I think we're going to see more and more examples of organizations truly, probably for the first time, truly understanding how they're getting work done today, who's doing it, what it's costing and what the outcomes are, and what are the smart decisions to make around that. So again, super exciting. I know this is only a recap, so we should probably close this off now. Otherwise, we'll be going on all day. But I think for those watching, more to come. This isn't a one-off event. We want to get more and more CHROs involved in this movement. Clients, doesn't matter. Clients or non-clients, doesn't really matter. That's not the point of this. This is about getting, some like-minded, smart people to collaborate on really making a difference in the way work gets done.
Yeah, and my final closing comment would be, so I agree with everything you say. There are a couple of other areas that we touched on that we won't go into for the purpose of this video, but it was really interesting towards the end was I think this point around the technology has moved on from understanding the concept, and what organizations are saying today is show me what that looks like. What does that person's role look like? What's their technology? What's their workflow look like? And I think that the intelligent workforce platform concept is definitely one now that's reached that stage of maturity, and companies are beginning to. I remember I've actually had conversations even since we did the session with companies saying, right, let's actually have a look into this. And I think the final point would be people were really interested. Okay, so where do we start? Okay, what? Just give me step one. We might agree on what the North Star is here, and that will be different for different organisations. But certainly, getting arms around data and making initial steps around, for example, having the first steps on the road to harmonisation. That was a really hot topic as well. So yeah, absolutely fantastic and great to recap, Bruce. And if you've got any final comments.
Yeah, just on that point, that's why we created that workforce maturity assessment. I think you're right. It's very important for organizations to understand where they're starting before they know where they want to go, but where are you starting? Because everybody will be different. And I should probably shamelessly plug our book that we wrote, The Universal Workforce Model. You can find that online. You can Google it and you'll find it. You can download a copy of that. But obviously, any further information, reach out to Simon or I. But Simon, thanks very much. Great to have the recap, and we'll be sure to do this going forward and keep people up to speed. Great seeing you.
Thanks, Bruce.